Hey guys, guess what time it is? It's time for Food or Fail. And today, what I'm trying my hand at is what's called a bean loaf. It is intended to be a replacement for meatloaf. There's a whole 1,000 different recipes for it on YouTube, so have fun researching that. I'm not following one in particular. I'm gonna give it my own little spin. But the kind of concept of it is that there's beans, there's usually some sort of bread or starch, or both, and then some sort of binding agent, and then they throw a slew of vegetables in it. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna figure it out myself. And so yeah, let's give it a go. Some black beans and red beans that I had cooked a couple of days ago. I just cooked those in pretty light broth with a whole bunch of seasonings in them. There's some basil in here, salt, pepper, a little bit of oil, Himalayan salt. I think I said that already. But I'm just going to put these in my Ninja and puree them, because I was trying to mash them, but they're still a little firm for mashing. So we're just gonna puree these in the Ninja. Let's give it a shot. I'm gonna set this to puree. And here we go. So that would be very difficult without a high-speed blender. So grateful that Zachary bought this for me. So if you don't have a high-speed blender, this is going to be difficult. What I would recommend you do is just cook the crap out of the beans. Like, cook them for like a solid 8 hours until they're pretty much pulverized, and then you should be able to mash them. These I just cooked for a few hours and there was no mashing them, but luckily the high-speed blender took care of that for me. But I didn't have one for a really long time. This recipe would have been obnoxious to me. So this is what the beans look like after they've been mashed up in the blender. Now, these are pretty full-on pasty. So I would say that actually this is like a clay consistency. If you would want to put some liquid in there to help blend, I think that would be fine, because eventually you're going to put other things in here. But for me, I'm glad I didn't, because I'm going to add a whole slew of liquid seasonings such as ketchup and mustard and all kinds of things like that. So that will help me get the right consistency when I come to making the actual mixture. So now I have added crackers. I opted to not do breadcrumbs. I don't know, I think it's weird to buy breadcrumbs. I guess not any weirder than buying crackers. But anyway, I used about half of a package of crackers so far, but I may end up using more. I'll let you know. This whole like meatloaf concept is that, like, what it is it's a hodgepodge of things thrown together, right? So in my refrigerator, I had some leftover pinto beans and rice. I'm just gonna throw those in the mixtures. All right, so I've added 1/4 cup barbecue sauce, about 1/2 cup ketchup, 2 tablespoons mustard, a tablespoon minced garlic. And now I've got 2 tablespoons garlic powder, 2 tablespoons chili powder, 1 tablespoon paprika, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of basil. Is that everything? I think that's it for right now. One thing I cannot stress enough, guys, about vegan cooking is that you have to season the crap out of your food. No matter what you do, especially with dried spices, you're gonna have to double what you think you need in there. Just do it, because at the end of the day, if it comes out bland, holy hell, nothing worse than that, right? I have the equivalent of 3 eggs for egg replacer. I typically like to use the flax, but I didn't have any, I guess. I didn't realize I was out, but I did have some Bob's Red Mill egg replacer in the freezer. If you buy that stuff, guys, it comes in this like huge bag. It shouldn't come. They should sell it in little packages. But anyway, one thing you can do is just keep it in the freezer. I mean, not that it really goes super bad outside of the freezer, but that's just where I like to keep it. But 3 eggs worth of egg replacer. I've got a few more wet ingredients to throw in the mix. All right, so I've added half a tablespoon of liquid smoke, and then about 3 tablespoons of A1. A1 is vegan, no anchovies in there, unless I'm reading the label wrong. Let me know below, guys, if ever you see anything that I'm using that's not vegan. I've been doing this for a fair amount of time, so I'm usually pretty good, but everyone makes mistakes, so let me know. So anyway, I've got those, and then I've got a nice thickened egg replacer here, so I'm going to add that, and then we're going to give it a mix. All right, so this is what it looks like after it's been all mixed up. It's pretty wet, right? Still kind of a clay-like consistency, but pretty wet, and that's what I was hoping for, because most recipes called for 2 cups of oats. I think I'm going to start with 1 cup and see how that goes. So we're getting closer. Ooh, I just flicked. Anyway, we're getting closer to the texture here. What I'm going to do is let this sit for a minute. The oats should pull some of the moisture out of this, and I have a feeling that just 1 cup of oats is going to be fine, but we're going to let it sit for a minute and see. Another thing you can do too, there's no eggs in this, right? Nothing raw in there, nothing wrong with tasting it. This is good, but it's really acidic from a lot of the vinegary condiments that I used. So what I want to do is actually, let me think, I'm gonna add a little bit more pepper and a little bit more salt. After I added salt and pepper to it, I tasted it again, and it's still really acidic, and I'm looking for more of an umami flavor. So I'm gonna add a little bit of soy sauce here and see if that will kind of round it out for me. We're gonna check back in just a minute. Yes. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and we are at a good flavor standpoint. Thank you, Kikoman. Alright guys, so this is the bread loaf pan here that I'm going to use. I'm using glass. I just think it's going to work out better, and most of the people that I saw that did these on YouTube used glass. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not sure all of this is going to fit in here, but we're going to try. But I want enough room to put, you know, something on top of it to keep it from drying out on top. So we'll check back in a minute. Oh, I did have to spray this. Normally I would just use parchment paper, but I'm out of everything today. I should have checked better before I started doing this, but anyway, it's slightly sprayed, so do with that what you want. All right, so this is what it looks like. It did actually all fit in the bread pan with a little space on top for glaze. I just put all of this in there, and I realized I didn't put any vegetables in it. I didn't put any onion, I didn't put any celery or carrot. This is literally just black beans and starches, so oatmeal and just a bunch of spices. So this could have been way healthier. This thing is like a brick. I don't know how the consistency is going to turn out. I am feeling a little bit nervous about it. I'm going to do a couple of little things to try to help the way that it cooks in the oven. So I'll show you that in just a minute. So there was a Jamaican gal on YouTube that I watched make a vegan loaf. I can't remember her name. I apologize for that. But she showed that she would separate the loaf from the sides of the container that it's cooking in, and then that way some of the glaze that she was putting on top would get down to the sides of the bread loaf. And I really like that, so I'm gonna do that as well. Not an original idea, but that's what I'm gonna do, because I think it sounds like a solid plan. So we're working on that now, and then we're gonna just put some ketchup on top. Some called for barbecue. In this situation, I'm doing ketchup because there's, with the A1 and the barbecue in it, there's already plenty of tang to it. So we're just gonna go with just plain ketchup. All right, guys, here's what it looks like after I've got the ketchup on top. It looks promising. I I did like lattice and look because I'm an artiste. So it's going in the oven for an hour at 350 degrees. I will let you guys know how it turns out, and we will find out if it is food or fail. So guys, it is there in here, and I've switched hats because I am washing all of my beanies because I just took them out of storage for fall and winter. And so anyway, I just wanted to check in on the meatloaf. Okay, so it smells like meatloaf in the house. It's crazy. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out, but it smells like meatloaf in the house right now. Anyway, I'm gonna go throw in the laundry. This is an hour after it's been in the oven. This is what it looks like. Oh my God, it actually looks, pardon my dirty grill top, but holy smokes, it actually looks good. Let's see what the texture's like in the middle. I'm wondering if maybe it shouldn't go in for another, I'm gonna put it in for another 20 minutes. All right guys, so I put the bean loaf back into the oven for another 20 minutes. It seemed like in the middle, like when I was kind of poking it or whatever, that it wasn't as dense as it should be, and maybe it's not supposed to be dense, but I like a firmer feel. If it's gonna have a different vibe than just normal meatloaf, I'd like it to be a little bit on the firmer side. So back in for another 20 minutes, check in just a moment. We are gonna cut a slice here. Let's see how it came out. I only have the one hand while I'm filming here, so let's see. Oh. Yeah, it looks like a good consistency. Huh. That'll be a son. Alright guys, ready? Taste test. I'm gonna take a nice big bite of it. Consistency looks good. It is weird. Consistency is good. I need something, and I don't know what. Maybe it needed more like green herbs or something. I mean, I'll eat this. This is food, but it's not as good as I'd hoped it would be. This would be really good on meatloaf sandwiches though. So maybe I'll just eat it that way. This is a food. This is not a fail. I can see how somebody might really like this. For me, it didn't land in that umami department. It's much more like tangy. It's not bad though. It's got a little spice to it, a little kick from the chili powder. Not bad, but I can tell you, this specific recipe, I wouldn't make it again. I'll try a different one next time. Anyway, that's it for the meatless meatloaf. We're gonna call this one a food, not a fail, although it could use a little improvement, but definitely food. You guys have a great one. Bye. All right, guys, I'm in the laundry room and I had some more thoughts about the meatloaf. So, first things first, the spicy. It's not from the chili powder, it's actually from the pepper. I have this really bad habit of over peppering things, so that's what that was. So next time, less pepper. The other thing that I will say is that it needed the veggies. It really needed the veggies, like the onion and the carrot and celery and all of that stuff. It needed that, and it didn't have it. So that would have helped immensely. And then the other thing too, what was the last thing I was thinking? Next time I'll do a different glaze on it. I don't like, there's too much ketchup in it. Next time I would do more of like a gravy for the top of it, because I think that meatloaf would be much better with like a golden gravy or something like that. But I am gonna eat it, and I'm probably gonna eat all of it, mostly just because it does taste good. I think my reservations with calling it food initially, excuse me, was that I was hoping for something that was like really like meatloaf, and the reality is without meat, you're not gonna get very close to the flavor or the consistency of actual meat. And really, would I want that anyway? Probably not. So anyway, those are my final thoughts on it while I'm finishing up my laundry here. But yeah, guys, next time, more veggies, less pepper, gravy instead of ketchup topping. Otherwise, that's a total food.